So my friend, when we say Dharma teaching, it's not just a talk. It's not just a talk, like learning a yoga or learning a meditation in some ashram. It's not like that. It is different from that. So I suppose every knowledge is like that, but especially in Dharma teachings, it must have a lineage. It must have a lineage. It's just not that I collect something from here and there and here and there, and I invent something and teach to you. That may become my collection. So if you follow that, you may become like me, but may not become like Buddha or Milarepa. You understand? So what we are going to what Dhamma teaching means? Dhamma means word of Buddha. Words of Buddha. So the teaching should be traced. If you trace, should be touched up to the Buddha's teaching, Buddha himself. Then if you follow that kind of advice or teaching or method, then you can become like a Buddha instead of me. You understand? So that is very important. In this dark age, in this dark age, or you can call it Kali Yuga, use Buddha's words and give another label. Things are happening, many, so is called New Age. And these things I can't say is good or bad, but certainly not Buddha's teaching. Buddha's teaching has to have to get enlightenment. There is approaches by step. Not that you bring everything together and make boil together. Then in Chinese there is a soup called hot and sour soup. It's not hot, it's not sour. It's a soup. So the teachings of a Buddha should not be done like that way, because maybe there can be individual benefits, but that will harm others. So therefore, if you are going to teach Buddha, if you want to say that I'm going to teach Buddhism, then you must teach Buddha's teaching. So in order to teach Buddha's teaching, first of all, I suppose you have to know. You have to know what is Buddha, who is Buddha, why do I follow Buddha? Not because of his radiating with golden color, or because of his look, or because maybe you think, oh, Buddha can fly in the sky, so I follow Buddha. Buddha can do some kind of a miracle. Therefore, I want to follow Buddha. Then that approach is not bad, but wrong. Buddha, we call it Buddha. Buddh is a Sanskrit language. Buddh. So, Buddh means the realization of the mind. The mental attitude or mental state of Buddha is much more advanced or higher than intelligence, which is called wisdom. So that wisdom, in order to understand the wisdom, the mind of the Buddha, we cannot, as we cannot judge anyone. At this moment, we have few people here. What I am thinking, what she is thinking, what she is thinking, what you are thinking, I can't see it. I can't understand. Maybe so as called body language and through that maybe they can be guessing, but cannot understand everything. Right? So in order to understand the Buddha's mind or profoundness of the Buddha's mind is only by his words. His words, not because he can fly. Even if he can fly, so what? If you can fly, where are you going to fly? Maybe to Australia, maybe to Vietnam, maybe to Israel, or maybe to Ladakh, I don't know. That's all. Where else can we fly? So it's not much meaning if you get fascinated on those kind of miracles and you get so excited. But thing is that the importance of Buddha, following Buddha is his mind, and in order to approach like his mind is his words. Yeah. So words we can hear because we have a language, right? We have a language. So through the language or literature, like letters, through that you can read, and if you have the capability of understand whatever language, the meaning of the language, if you can go depth into the depth. If not, you have to study. So if you can, then you can judge, you can understand the quality of Buddha, quality of Buddha's mind, and that can be analyzed from any angle. The words of Buddha, So because of that, Buddhism was taught by Buddha, taught by word. So Buddha is respected because of his words. And many of us, so as called Buddhism, we are Buddhist. Not one, 200 and thousands of beings has been benefited from his words, and many got enlightened. And even if not enlightened, because of his teachings, at least it brings peace and harmony in human society. The animals, they don't have language, they cannot understand. They cannot understand, isn't it? So therefore, we as a human being can change maybe cannot save the world, but can change the, whatever is happening can be changed by human being. So therefore, Buddha became Buddha and he taught in human language. So human being is the most capable living being on this earth. So therefore, Buddha manifested as a Buddha, as a human being, and he spoke in human language. Right? So what we have to approach is his words. His words. If we approach his words, then we can attain as he has attained. So the lineage must touch to the Buddha. This is one thing. You understand? So when Buddha taught his teachings at the beginning, at that time there was no literature, no how to say, letter. So all those great masters, it was very difficult. Everything has to be kept in mind. But later on, by great scholars or Buddhist scholars like Nagarjuna and Asanga and Deknath and so on and so forth, So they have, we are lucky that we are able to have the Buddha's teaching in form of book or letter. Yeah. So that has come down like that. So during those days, it was now. After that, according to the capacity of the people's mental attitude, so there has become Mahayana Buddhism, Hinayan Buddhism, Theravadan Buddhism, but overall it's same. Basically it's the same. The foundation is the same. Like so it's called Four Seals or Four Noble Truths. No matter what Buddhism you are, we all follow that. If you are a Buddhist. If you are a Buddhist, no. If you want to become Buddhist, first you have to understand the Four Seals, for example, impermanence. You know, whatever comes out of desire is suffering. Every existence does not have any permanent identity, and therefore we should get enlightened. We should be achieve nirvana. So nirvana is not that you fly from this earth to another earth, but change mental attitude. Nirvana, you know, get rid of these cause and consequences of, so it's called samsara. So this is Buddhist, for Buddha's Four Seals of Buddhism. Then you can call it True Truth or Four Truth. True Truth is relative truth and ultimate truth. Most of us, we follow the relative truth. In relative truth, there is suffering, there is happiness. You can prevent the suffering. You can achieve some kind of a happiness. So we are bound in that, right? We can feel the suffering of, for example, we can experience the suffering of poverty, right? Therefore, I want to get wealth. I want to become wealthy so that I can get rid of the poverty. Or physically I am sick, so I want to get rid of this suffering of sickness. So I want to go to see doctor and eat medicine and get rid of that sickness. But you have not cured the sickness. So we are, as a sentient being, we are only our limitation of our effort is only that much, right? In a relative level. So these relative levels, whether it's a suffering of poverty, whether it's suffering of unbalanced elements, we get these problems. But this also has to have cause and conditions and consequences. It just does not happen without any cause and condition and consequences, isn't it? So this is a very lucky that this is a very great example to understand the ultimate truth. On an ultimate truth, the happiness, the joy, the pleasure which we gain from wealth, for example, in order to get rid of the suffering of poverty, is also very temporary. Very temporary. You know, how much wealth you accumulate, it cannot give you permanent happiness. And what we approach as our limit of happiness, in order to achieve that also is a pain. Work hard as an animal, sleep less, eat less, enjoy less, and somehow we give all our time for that, and then we may achieve so it's called wealth. But there is no limit. Like this, let's say the Bill Gates or someone who is the richest man in the world. Now, in our limit, he is the richest. So if he is the richest, then he should be the happiest person according to our understanding. But what do you think? If you be like Bill Gates or the richest man in the world, is he the happiest man? No. He do not have the suffering of poverty, but he has suffering of the wealth. Maybe he cannot sleep, I don't know, same problem, similar problem. So that indicates that the relative levels, happiness or suffering are very shallow, very grocery level. So as a Buddhism, as I told you, there's a truth. Relative truth is also truth. You know, if somebody stabs a knife on your stomach, of course you will die, or you'll be in pain. That is also relative truth. But that pain will not remain forever. You know? So ultimate truth. So we have to seek for the ultimate truth. So ultimate truth is truth's happiness is not the joy or happinesses which we can gain from relative levels, cause and conditions. So for that we have to accumulate cause and conditions of that happiness. So that goes not material, not physical, but rather mentally. So mentally, on the mentally level, the cause and conditions, if you can prevent, and if you can accumulate, then according to Buddha's Buddha, then you get the ultimate happiness, or non-dual, and get the wisdom, and then you become Buddha. Right? Briefly is something like that. You understand? So now when we teach about Buddhism, you should not think that I want to do a meditation and get all the stress away, and stress away, and I do some kind of stretches and get rid of the back pain or leg pain. Then you think I get the blessing of Buddha. That may not be like that. You understand? Our approach should be different. The purpose should be different. The expectations should be different. And so that's what we should understand. The meaning of practicing Dharma. Okay. So as I told you, there are Hinayana, Mahayana, Vajrayana, and so forth. Now what we are going to talk about today is from Vajrayana tradition. Mahayana, Hinayana are all in here, in Vajrayana. Without Hinayana, without Sutrayana, then there will be no foundation. No foundation. So in Sutrayana, emphasize on many, but most important thing is Vinaya, Vinaya means discipline. Discipline. Discipline is important because we are not perfect. If we are perfect, then no need discipline. If we are perfect, no need dharma also. Why to practice dharma? If you are good, if you are already very perfect, then why do you have to do all these things like prostration? Why to maybe as a push-up maybe you can do, but otherwise not much meaning. So we are not perfect, so therefore we need to have a discipline. Discipline what? Discipline your speech, body, and mind, which is called the three gateways. In Buddhism we call Gosum, three gateways to enlightenment, to samsara. Because of these three body, speech, and mind's attitude, if you make it perfect, you get. If you discipline it, and if you utilize it in the right way, you get. It's a gateway to enlightenment. But if you do not discipline, and if you let it do whatever it does, then there is gateway to samsara or hell realm, animal realm, hungry ghost realm, so on and so forth, which is called three lower realms also through these gateways. So that's why body, speech, and mind is the essential cause of liberation or samsara. So what we have to do is, first of all, we have to try to know yourself. We should try to know ourselves. Our physical and verbal is also, but mainly we have to understand the attitude of our mind. Our mind. So as called accumulation of karma, accumulation of merit. It's not that you go in the mountain and collect herbs. Accumulating does not mean that. You have to understand your own mental attitude, which we don't know. Next moment, it's like a crazy dog. Next moment, the dog might bite you, or run away, or you don't know. So our mind also like that. We cannot overwhelm or control or order our mind to serve us. Right? Normally we serve the mind. Mind says do this, we do that. Mind says do this, we do that. And if our mind is perfect, then it is okay. But our mind is not perfect. It is our mental attitude is our mental behavior is due to ignorance, not knowing it. So when you, according to Buddhism, if you do something unknowingly, 99% of the actions will be wrong. Maybe by chance, if it happens something good, then it's possible. But otherwise, logically you can say, if you close eyes and you walk, most probably you will hurt yourself than getting to your destiny, isn't it? Yeah. So therefore, Buddha Dharma is mainly to first of all understand our mind. Our mind. When you say ourselves, there is no self, but we use this term. So you say mainly is to understand your mind. So if you can discipline your mind, and if you can train your mind, then your mind will be better. Therefore, your speech and physical body actions will be better. When that is better, then it is always good for you. First of all, forget about doing good for others. is good for you. When you are able to do good for yourself, then you may be able to do good for others. You know. So like that. So therefore, in Vajrayana Buddhism, so in order to bring your mental attitude in a right direction, so for that, I don't mean I have to say this, but I don't mean me myself, but we need to have a right guidance. We need to have a right guidance. So in order to have a right guidance, you need to have a person who guides you, right? So through that, you can call it teacher, or you can call it a guru, you can call it spiritual master, whatever level you want to give, we have to have, right? Buddha is our spiritual guide, for example, as for a Buddhist. So as a to have a right guide or teacher or guru, the guru or the teacher or guide must know what he or she is talking about, trying to lead us. So therefore, in Buddhism, it says it is very important, first of all, to check, to analyze the teachers, mainly the mental attitude. And also the teacher or the guru has to analyze the follower, the student. You know. So this is very, very important. That is very, very important. And the teacher and the student both should not must analyze and understand that from both sides. One does not misuse the teaching of Dharma for worldly purposes. If someone is a teacher, if you see the teacher is going to use the Dharma, misuse the Dharma to gain worldly purposes, then that teacher is wrong. The teacher should see the student, he or she is learning Dharma, but for what? To gain the worldly purposes, then that is not a right student as well. You know, that is very clearly said in many teachings of the Dharma, and especially in Vajrayana. So therefore, now once that is first step. Then second step, if you see that the teacher sees that the students are okay or perfect, and the students see the teacher is perfect, right? This guy or this lady can lead me to somewhere, spiritual level, then that is called your teacher. Then must obey. Must obey the teacher's advices, and the teacher also has to give time and do his or her best to guide them. So this is the discipline of both sides. To make it brief. Otherwise, there are many more, words. The quality of the teacher, the quality of the student, how it should be, this and that. But at least you understand it should be like this. Then when you have that, then in order to waken ourselves up, or it will accumulate the merit, and there is this practice. There are so many practices, but as a preliminary practice and most important practice, which is in Vajrayana, is called Munro. But this Munro is actually and at the time of Buddha, there wasn't such practice called Munro. Even in Milarepa's time, or Marpa's time, or Naropa's time, there wasn't a practice called Munro. So, so Buddha's, if you speak from another angle, Buddha's Munro was 6 years meditating. If you believe it or not, it says drinking 1 drop of water and eating 1 grain of rice for 6 years. Still he did not achieve anything. So that is maybe Buddha's Munro. Yeah. Then after that, in our lineage, like for example, Naropa. Have you heard about Naropa? Yeah. Naropa was a student of Tilopa, and he was not an easy guy. He was a great scholar and learned professor of Nalanda University, specialized in I think one of the major Buddhist philosophy. Very learned. But when he met Tilopa, then he has to go through big hardships. Like maybe I cannot imagine. If my guru says to tell me to do that, I'm sure I cannot do that. Yeah. So that was his Munro. You see, to break down his ego or dualism and all those kind of things. So, like that. Then Milarepa in Tibet. That time there was no Munro, like 100,000 prostration, 100,000 Bodhisattva, 1,000 mandala, wasn't there. So Milarepa's life story you might have read. So how Marpa trained him, that was Milarepa's Munro. You see. Yeah. So later on, the followers of Buddhism wasn't so dedicated, so devoted, which like myself. So if my guru says you build a house for me, a 9-story house, impossible. Not with money, with physical effort. Even if I have money, I may not do. I couldn't let go. You see. Yeah, so by knowing this attitude, then the great masters, for the dark-aged students like me, for them they made this Munro. So, if we are too much attached to our comfort, our leisure, then maybe it's a bit too high to jump. Yeah. So that's why in order to make physically ready, verbally ready, mentally ready to practice Dharma, so first challenge is Munro. Which makes you ready. You become ready for the practices. So that's why it's a Munro. So in Munro there is a common Munro and uncommon Munro. The common Munro is called 4 thoughts. It reverts what you think. the present concept. Present belief of your mind. Like, first of all, we don't really respect ourselves. We love ourselves, maybe we love ourselves, but we don't know how to take care of ourselves. And we do not understand the capability or the capacity of even our physical body, what it can be, what it can do. Like we don't understand how much our brain can do, right? Brain. There are 3 parts of brain, right? Each part of brain has unlimited capacity, capability, but how much we use? We are not using it. That scientific science say, no? So in Buddhism it's the same. We are talking about human rebirth, human body. So we have to, first of all, must understand the profoundness and the preciousness of this human rebirth. Then at the same time, another mistake what our attitude or mental attitude has is that we think, if you analyze it, not, but if you do, mostly we do not analyze, and we think that we are going to be here forever. Right? Yeah. Which we don't like to. We don't like to become old. We don't like to become sick. We don't like to die. Right? We don't like to die. But we are going to die. We are going to get old. We are going to get sick. But in our mental attitude, we never think about that. We think that I will be always like the same. Isn't it? Yeah. So, impermanence. Impermanent is not a mythological story. Impermanent is fact. Right? It's not that you have to believe. You have to believe because it's fact. So it is very important to think of death. If you think of death, you will not do wrong. If you think of death, you will not waste our time. If you understand the preciousness of our human body, and if you really understand the impermanence, you will not waste a single moment. That's why impermanence. And then interdependent origination or cause and conditions. That is also fact. If you are sick, must have a cause. If you are healthy, must have a cause. If you are sad, must have a cause. If you are happy, also must have a cause. Happiness does not just fall from sky or come out of the ground. It happens. Nothing in Buddhist concept, nothing happens by itself. Everything what it happens, everything what it exists, everything what it appears, has to have a cause and conditions. There's nothing which just happens without any cause and conditions. In Buddhist concept. So the cause and conditions are very, very vast. Very vast. Like we are here about how many people? 6, 7, 8 people. We all look same. We all don't look the same. Although we are all human beings. Behind that, in a Buddhist concept, it has cause and conditions. So what is the cause? That I have a flat nose. What is the cause? You have a sharp nose. And what is the cause? Gradawa is falling into sleep. All these have a cause and conditions. Right? Cause and conditions. So it's a very, very vast thing. but it do have, must have. Yeah. So therefore, if you want pleasure, if you do not want pain, we need to accumulate the cause of the pleasure, and we have to prevent the cause of the pain. Without that, just by prayer or just by inspiration, pain may not go or the pleasure may not come. That's why contemplating on interdependent origination, cause and conditions. So according to the cause, it is your choice. It's our choice. What cause and condition, consequences we want to accumulate for the next moment, or for the next day, or for the next month, or for the next year, or for the next life. So if we believe in a life, in rebirth, then rebirths, we will get rebirth according to our accumulated cause and conditions. So therefore, at this moment, we have freedom. We have freedom. We have almost all the conditions that we can change our next moment. So therefore, it is very important to understand the fault of the samsara. You understand? So this is called the four thoughts which reverts our previous thought, which corrects our previous concept. So when you can revert your mind, revert means when you understand. At this moment, we believe the suffering as a pleasure. Suffering as a pleasure. In Buddhism, there are three sufferings, so it's called three sufferings. One is khepa dujegi dungal, because of the ignorant. Everything existing in samsara is caused by ignorant. Therefore, the cause of the suffering is already there. So everyone in this samsara have equally the cause of the suffering. You understand? Yeah. Like we have joyful moment, painful moment, and how to say, not neutral experience. So neutral experience is like the field from where suffering grows, which we all have. That field or that ground itself is caused by ignorance because of samsara. So then, pleasure, we have pleasure, is also suffering. It is suffering because it can change any moment. Now we have, next moment we don't have. Now we are healthy, next moment we can become sick. Now we are alive, next moment we'll die. So that is also suffering. Right? So, the joy, the suffering itself is a suffering because it is grown from the suffering, because it's a product of the suffering. You know, we have a head, therefore we have headache. Head, we already have the cause of headache within ourselves. So we cannot escape from these three sufferings since we are in samsara, according to Buddha's teaching. So therefore, if you analyze and you understand that way, then you understand. We will be able to understand the samsara. samsaric pleasure, which we think, oh, it's so pleasurable, it's so pleasurable. You can change any moment, isn't it? When you look from that angle, whole world is ignorant. I want to have this, we make guns and this and fight and kill that one and I will become happier. If you kill them, maybe they will kill you. So on and so forth, like that. So this is samsara. So this cannot change like that by yourself. But you can get rid of the samsara. Nobody can change the samsara because it's karma. You can change yourself, or you can. It's good to go, good to do something to change someone's future. But overall, holistically, if you say change the samsara, it's quite impossible. Yeah. So like that is called the four thoughts. Then after that is a prostration. It's basically a refuge. Refuge means surrendering. Surrender yourself. I try to do my best to win, but now I am tired of, so now you please help me. That is called surrendering, isn't it? Yeah. Like you go to battlefield and to try to fight against, put all your effort, do what you can. At the last, when you cannot, then you put your hands up, right? So like that. We have been doing this to achieve the happiness. For, if you believe, from beginningless of the life till now, and still we are not over. So it's good that we surrender ourselves. From deeply or not, I don't know, but yeah, I want to have something, so at least think of Dharma. This is called surrendering. So just doing this is not a big deal. But when you do this, from mentally you have to have that kind of a feeling or understanding. Yeah. So when you have this kind of a feeling or understanding, then there is no place for laziness. There should not be place for laziness. But when you are lazy, that means you are not very sure. You are not very sure. I'm surrendering or not very sure. Half. If I can get, I surrender. But if it's very hard, then I step back. Right? Yeah, that is called laziness. Isn't it? Yeah. So, therefore, at first, contemplating on the four thoughts is very important. Yeah. Like that. So, these guys, they know, but maybe you may not know. So, this Mondo's little booklet is, how to say, it's a mind treasure of Shakyashiri. Mind treasure of Shakyashiri. So before doing Mondo, it is good if you can recitate the supplication to Shakyashiri. Gangjen Dube Wangsu Miraji, Sangan Yengu, Zozen Namsonton, Rodin Kyongchir Samban Nanjupa, Shakyashiri Shakaswade. Is it?
It's not in the English.
Huh?
It's not in the English booklet.
Oh, it's not?
It's just the English booklet just begins with Namo Guru Namaste.
Yeah. So please, Jema, you make one.
Okay.
Yeah. Then we should make a book, something like this. So, then after that, in